The faces of those Galatasaray players when they lost that first goal, you could see it, that they were worried. They were worried that this is going to turn into a complete onslaught, and we were just giving them chances after chances. They didn't deserve that many chances. They were shocked themselves, probably thinking, wait up, why are we getting so many chances at Old Trafford? They were not here to win the game. We should have destroyed them and put them away quickly, but we could not do that. We could not kill off the game. I don't understand why. Every time we score a goal, we just let them go and score another goal. Why cannot Ten Hag tell the team, right, you've scored a goal, now shut the shop up, calm down, play a defensive game for at least 10 minutes, but we feel replacing Ten Hag should not even be up for discussion right now. We've seen it. We've replaced past managers. It's like doing the same thing again and again, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and getting the same result. We've seen that we've replaced managers again and again under the Glazers, and what's happened? Nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. We get the same performances out of the same players. Welcome back to the Man United stream. Is Ten Hag gone? Is he going to get the sack after last night's game against Galatasaray in that huge defeat at home at Old Trafford in the Champions League against Galatasaray? Are Ten Hag's days numbered, and is the board now on a search for finding a new manager to replace Ten Hag? We'll discuss this and look back at the game in today's show, so make sure you hit that like button on the video, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and opinions. Now, there's a very good reason why I don't do post-match reaction videos straight after matches are played, because after the loss, I'd be very, very emotional, and I'd probably come out with so much crap and so much things that are probably extreme for most fans out there. So I do not bother doing anything like that. I calm down, I sleep on it, and the next morning I get up and get my head together and see if I can see any positives in the performance. And I have to say one thing, I am struggling. I'm literally struggling to find anything positive from last night's game. The only person that I can pinpoint, only player that I can say that actually had a decent game and was a positive for Manchester United was Rasmus Højlund. He actually showed why Manchester United had gone out and signed him, and he, if he continues playing this way, could be a very, very good striker for Manchester United going forward. I did say that he is suited to the Premier League. He's got real speed on inside, and he's got physicality that's needed in the Premier League, and he will do well if he can carry on playing this way and be injury free. But the rest of the team, I have to say, were absolutely despicable. All the players had one of the worst performances I've seen from Manchester United in many years. Now, the only players that maybe played slightly better than I thought was Mason Mount. Mason Mount looked good. His passing was good. He looked like he's getting around the pitch. And then possibly Amrabat could be thrown into that as well, because Amrabat is being asked to play a left-back position, something that he's never really played before. He's a midfielder being asked to do a left-back job, and you could see that at least one goal that Galatasaray did score came as a direct result of Amrabat playing in the left-back position. He just could not keep up with the players. He's not fast. We knew this already. He's not a pacey player. Why play him on left-back? I have no idea. But look, this is what we're going to discuss today and discuss about Ten Hag. Is he doing a good enough job for you, or are there massive gaps appearing now in the way he's managing Manchester United? So let's rewind back to yesterday afternoon, where we started hearing rumours that Onana will not be playing in the game, and Altay Bendir, the new Turkish goalkeeper that Manchester United signed in this summer transfer window, would be making his debut at Old Trafford and be playing against Galatasaray. Now, lots of people were shocked about this news. Some people were saying yes, this could make sense, and some were not happy at all that he was making his debut against Galatasaray. Now I'm thinking maybe we should have actually been happy if he did start. I think he might have done a better job than Onana did last night. The weakest link in last night's game for Manchester United has to be Onana. Now, I don't really like calling out single players and blaming the entire losses on one single player, and it wasn't Onana's fault entirely. He wasn't to blame for the entire loss, but he did give goals away and he could have done better. There's a number of occasions where I thought Onana should have been doing better. His positioning is absolutely horrendous when it comes to one-on-one attacks by the opposition. He just doesn't know where to stand, whether he needs to come out or whether he needs to stay in goals. He doesn't do either. He just stands in the middle where he could quite easily get lobbed, and we saw Icardi do exactly that in last night's game. It was just weird to watch. What is he meant meant to be doing? Should he be rushing out towards the player, or should he be staying back on his line and trying to make that save? Now many fans started reminiscing about David De Gea and how he played for Manchester United and how he could have done a job in last night's game. Would he have been that bad? We're not quite sure. Would he have made some of those saves? Yes. David De Gea was a very good shot stopper, was very good one-on-one. However, his play from the back wasn't good. So David De Gea might have actually made the same pass Onana did to Casemiro yesterday, which led to the penalty. We're not quite sure if David De Gea would have done anything different. But David De Gea is a better shot stopper, and we all knew the time when Manchester United announced that they will be signing a new goalkeeper and letting David De Gea go, that this was probably the wrong move. Why were we signing a goalkeeper? He wasn't a priority position. David De Gea was still doing a decent job for Manchester United, still keeping us in the game, and our defence was one of the best in the Premier League last season. So why start messing around with that defence? Keep the defence as it is and start focusing on areas that we were struggling with, which was the attack. We weren't scoring enough goals. We were just relying on Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, and we found out this season that relying on them two is not enough. They're not consistent enough for Manchester United, and we have started struggling scoring them goals. The way Ten Hag lined up the team last night made a lot of sense, and that's probably why he didn't come in for a lot of criticism after the game. He put Hannibal in the team that gave us legs in the middle of the park. Only issue was that he was playing Amrabat again in left back, where we felt that he does not do a good enough job. He's much better playing in the midfield. He could have played Maguire as a centre back and Lindelof as a left back if that's what he wanted to do, but clearly he does not trust Maguire in that centre back position. Now, Man United, like they've been doing a lot this season, started off the game really well, really bright, looked like they were going to get a couple of goals early on, and they finally did actually get a goal through Rasmus Højlund, a great crossing by Rashford, and Højlund was there to put it away. It was the perfect start for Man United. However, it all fell apart because Manchester United have got one hell of a leaky defence this season, and they just love giving goals away. Galatasaray had lots of chances, and the goal that actually came from Wilfried Zaha was a really weak goal to give away, and Dalot should have done a lot better against Zaha. The Manchester United defence and Onana were simply not good enough last night. It just showed how weak we were at the back, and every time Manchester United would go ahead and try and score, they would just keep giving goals away. It was just like a ping pong game. They knew they'd score, but they'd also know that they're going to give a goal away. It was just silly. Now, Man United having such a solid defence last season and now one of the weakest defence in the league, it just does not make sense. How can it be that dramatic of a change in one season? Now, last night's game ended 3-2 to Galatasaray, winning against Manchester United, winning first time in England against any English opposition for Galatasaray. They broke the record that's been standing there for so long. Galatasaray were actually on a 14-game unbeaten run, and I knew when I heard that Manchester United were not going to get an easy ride. We knew this was not going to be an easy game, but we still thought Manchester United had enough class on that pitch to destroy a team like Galatasaray that were there for the taking. They were not good. They were not good. If anyone turns around and tells me that Galatasaray were a better team and they played really well yesterday, well, it's not true. Galatasaray were rubbish. They were a rubbish team, but Manchester United were even worse, and that is the problem. Manchester United could not even take down a team like Galatasaray. They were there for the taking. They didn't even know what to do. The faces of those Galatasaray players when they lost that first goal, you could see it, that they were worried. They were worried that this is going to turn into a complete onslaught, and we were just giving them chances after chances. They didn't deserve that many chances. They were shocked themselves, probably thinking, wait up, why are we getting so many chances at Old Trafford? They were not here to win the game. We should have destroyed them and put them away quickly, but we could not do that. We could not kill off the game. I don't understand why. Every time we score a goal, we just let them go and score another goal. Why can not Ten Hag tell the team, right, you've scored a goal, now shut the shop up, calm down, play a defensive game for at least 10 minutes. Do not give any chances in the next 10 minutes. Just shut up shop, Park the bus if you have to, just calm everything down and control the game. Control the game. Now this is the biggest difference from last year. If you sit back and watch Ten Hag's press conferences from last year, last season, what he kept saying was that he wanted to control the game. He wanted control. He wanted control of the game. He wanted the midfield to control the game and completely take charge of what's going on. But this year he's thrown that rule book straight out the window, and now he wants quick transitions, wants to be attacking, wants to be high pressure team, but it's not working. Anyone could tell Ten Hag it's not working, whether that's because he hasn't got the right players at his disposal to go and play that style, or whether it's just not working in terms of tactics, whether Ten Hag is not getting them right. This is the biggest problem, but Ten Hag needs to see this. He needs to wake up, because if he does not and we lose against Brentford this weekend, Ten Hag could be a dead man walking. He will definitely be on very, very thin ice, even though he's got everything in the bank from last season and did really well, and the board were impressed with him and actually got us into the Champions League last season. This season is a different story, and the board will be monitoring this very carefully. Now, we are hearing internally from sources within Manchester United that the next few games are absolutely crucial for Ten Hag, and the board will start discussing a replacement if Ten Hag does not win the next 2 or 3 games. So the pressure is on 100% on Ten Hag right now. He needs to come out and he needs to make sure that his team start performing and start getting results. Whether he has to park the bus, he has to do whatever is needed to go and get these wins against these teams that we were expected to get wins over anyway. We were expected to win Crystal Palace. We were expected to win Galatasaray. This was meant to be a formality, but it's turned into a complete joke. We as a team are falling apart, and we cannot keep on blaming the Glazers for our performances right now. Yes, the overall picture is that the Glazers are causing huge issues for Manchester United, but right now, these little games that we're playing, it is down to the manager to get the team cooking, and the team is not completely oblivious to this either. They need to be coming up with the goods and winning against teams like Galatasaray. If we can't be winning against teams like Galatasaray, I think we need to get rid of every single player there and rebuild everything from scratch, because that's what's going to be needed. Now, I hope you don't find this video too negative, but the thing is, I have to point out the obvious. I have to sit here and let you guys know what I think of the team right now and what I think of Ten Hag's tactics and his choices and his players that he's brought in. Now, Onana clearly is not working. Now, when we first heard that Manchester United were after a new goalkeeper and it was Onana and they were going to let De Gea go, we were really confused. Why would Manchester United be looking to bring in a new goalkeeper when we had so much issues with outfield players? We needed them replacing first. We should have gone out there and bought a new centre-back, which we're now missing. We should have gone out there and bought a new striker, which we're now missing. We needed more goals in the team. We haven't got them. We're relying on players like Rashford and Bruno, and we're now complaining about them, saying that they're not good enough. But why are we relying on 1 or 2 players in that team? Yes, they are star players, but they should not be relied upon. It's a team game, and we need the entire team to step up and play good. But the entire team is not playing well, is it? But the goalkeeper signing that we did bring in Andre Onana has been terrible for us. He's had a really bad start for the season, and I'm not sure whether this is going to improve or whether he actually is going to get worse over time. We will have to wait and see. Please drop your comments below on what you think of Andre Onana. Do you think that he's been a good goalkeeper for Manchester United? Do you think he could actually go on and be a very good goalkeeper for Manchester United, or do you think we made a huge mistake by letting David De Gea go when we did? Now, coming back to Ten Hag, the reason why I'm a huge fan of Ten Hag is because he's done something that managers haven't done since Sir Alex Ferguson. What Erik Ten Hag has done has started players that deserve to be started. He dropped players that deserve to be dropped. He put on players that deserve to be put on. Ten Hag has played players in their correct positions, apart from Amrabat, and he's believed in youth. He's brought in youth players from the academy like Hannibal and is letting them play for Manchester United. So he's done some lots and lots of positives within that Manchester United dressing room. And the most important thing that Ten Hag has brought to this Manchester United team is that of work ethic and that of discipline. They were lacking both under other managers, and Ten Hag knew this and saw this, and that's the first thing that he came and sorted out last season. But things have to improve on other fronts with Manchester United. Manchester United need to get better at playing against these kind of teams, against Galatasaray, against Crystal Palace. We cannot be losing against these teams, and this is why there's lots of fans out there calling for Ten Hag to be sacked and someone else brought in instead of him. But we feel replacing Ten Hag should not even be up for discussion right now. We've seen it. We've replaced past managers. It's like doing the same thing again and again. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and getting the same result. We've seen that we've replaced managers again and again under the Glazers. And what's happened? Nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. We get the same performances out of the same players. So what needs to change? We need to actually start changing the players, and we need to change the actual ownership of the club. That's what needs changing, and this is why I keep on saying that the Glazers need to leave and we need to bring in new owners who could actually bring something else to the table. There is clearly something wrong at Manchester United and no one knows what it is, and it's not the manager, because if it was the manager then it would have worked when we brought in Solskjaer or now Ten Hag, but it's clearly not the manager. We've done that. We've been there. We can't replace the managers every time we start losing. We need to think of something else now. We need to look at the players that are not playing well enough for Manchester United, and we need to look at the ownership. Now, if you look back at the last 18 years of the Glazer ownership, Manchester United have been totally crap under them. Yes, and that is why David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson decided to leave Manchester United, because they knew that under this ownership, Manchester United will not be competing against the likes of Man City, Real Madrids and the PSGs and the Bayern Munichs. They knew that we would not get the backing that is needed. Manchester United needed a lot more than just making one or two marquee signings each summer transfer window and thinking that that would cover up the cracks. No, we needed complete support in throughout the whole infrastructure at the club, whether it was the youth academy, whether it was the training facilities, or whether it was Old Trafford. And that is where we needed new ownership to come in and sort all this mess out, because the Glazers were simply not prepared to put any money onto these kind of facilities and spend the money where it was needed. They've never done that, and they never will do that. So replacing Ten Hag is not going to get rid of the bigger issues, the deeper issues. We've got such deep issues, and it's a disease from within. It's the Glazers, and we have to get rid of them. We have to wipe this slate clean and then start all over again. Look, I see Manchester United as a huge jigsaw piece where it's got its players and it's got its managers, coaching staff around the club. Everyone fits in like a jigsaw. Everyone fits like a piece, and everyone has to fit together for it to be a successful piece. But what those jigsaw pieces sit on is the ownership, and the ownership is the Glazers. And if we haven't got a good enough base to sit on, whether it's Ten Hag or whether it's the players, we're all going to fall apart, because it's all not going to fit nicely together. And this is why we believe that we need solid ownership underneath this jigsaw. We need a solid ownership to be there to sit beneath all this jigsaw pieces and keep them in place. So we need the manager as a jigsaw piece and the players and everything else that fits on together. But the ownership is the solid base, the foundation underneath the entire setup. And if they're not good enough, well, then the club is not going to be successful. Now, I hear many people say, well, other clubs haven't got decent owners. Yes, and that's why they're not doing well. If you look at the clubs that are doing well, you would see a key consistency between the teams and the ownership, which is that the owners are very good at running the club. The owners know exactly what to do, and they bring in the best in class in every single position at the club, whether it's in coaching staff, whether it's in the facilities behind the scenes. In every position, they bring in the best in class, and Manchester United have not got that. The Glazers have put in people that they feel are good for their business, but nothing else. They're not good for the football club. So what is the solution to stop Manchester United losing all these games? How can we get back to winning ways? I personally think that Ten Hag needs to set up the team a lot more defensively and try and counter-attack teams and play that style until he has more players available and back from injury, because it's clear we cannot play the style style of football that Ten Hag wants to play with the current players available to him. We have to wait. We have to wait and wait for those injured players to come back from injury and then see if he can go again. But right now, what we think Ten Hag should be doing is playing a more counter-attack type of football, making sure the team sits back and letting Højlund and Rashford do the damage on their counter-attack. We've got enough pace in the team to play that kind of football, and we will be successful. Let us know your thoughts on how Manchester United should be setting up as a team going forward to stop these losses and start getting back to winning ways. And also let us know what you think of Ten Hag. Do you think Ten Hag should be gone, or do you think we should give Ten Hag more time to get things right at Manchester United? Or do you think we should bring in a new manager and an entire new coaching staff and start all over again? Let us know your thoughts. You were watching the Man United Streamer channel by the fans for the fans.